Good evening. Welcome to Spotlights. My name is Andrea Rosacker and I will be your host tonight. We have three really exciting guests tonight and we will also be discussing quite a nice topic, which is everyday racism. So let's just get into it without any further ado. We have three guests. I'll be introducing one at a time and then we'll all discuss together after that. So our first guest is, we'll just call you Bella, and maybe you can say your whole name so I don't say it the wrong way, and maybe give us a little introduction about where you're from, first and foremost, and what you do in life.
Yeah, well, my name is Carla Gabriella, but everyone says Bella. It's easier to pronounce, especially here in Scandinavia. I'm 33 years old, and I'm the lucky one having my birthday on the National Day of Norway, that's 17 May. So, where my current situation is, well, I'm the most proud teenage mom, and that's my calling in life right now. I just quit my job as a personal trainer, and I'm looking now life as where I want to be next.
And yeah, that's perfect. So, if I don't remember wrong, you're from Hungary, Russia, Italy and Romania, yeah?
Yeah, well, I'm half Italian. I'm born south of Italy in Palermo, but I have roots from my mom, Romania, Hungary and Russia. I've been here since I was 9 years old, so I'll call myself as Norwegian, but the looks from Latin, that's Bella.
And how have you experienced any kind of like everyday racism?
Well, when you look at me, I don't like get to the "oh, you're Italian" before I pronounce my name. So I'm from all kind of countries, depending on how tanned I am, or my nose, my looks. So I've had mostly entire my life had to explain who I am, and especially when I moved here, I lived in a place that I was the only one foreign. There were only Norwegian in a place called Fagernes, Beitostølen, in Norway, and that was very special for me, being the sporty Bella, the boyish type with the strict look. So I've experienced through school a lot of jealousy, especially from girls, and being approved for who I am as growing up. And next is, like, especially after I became a mom when I was 20 years old, I've of course traveled a lot, have tourism in my background, in my growing up with my mom and my surroundings. So I've traveled a lot, and there's not been a single time I haven't been stopped. Even if I have a privilege as being a standby or traveling with my mom that worked at the airport her entire life, there's always something about me that looks like something's up with her. She's not smiling. She has to be something carrying drugs, or when traveling with my son, I'm the perfect object of using my son alone. So that's really uncomfortable, getting stopped when I'm traveling with my son.
Yeah, and it's really not fair because they're just profiling you into one box that you don't fit into at all.
Yeah, I will just I'll use like a board of who I am and just go in that with that in front of me. It'll be much easier. Yeah. So now that you can go, you're approved.
I've never been stopped in an airport like this, so I can't speak about that, and that's why I think it's really important as representing a Norwegian person or a white person. For those watching from other places, it's really important that we do talk about this, because just because I'm not experiencing it does not mean that it's not happening. And I've had quite a few friends that have kind of shut down on me when I've said that this is happening still, because it's something that I feel for, and then it's not my topic to talk about because it's not concerning me. But I actually think that it's concerning everybody. But we can get into that. I have to introduce the other guests, and then we'll all discuss this together in just a little bit. So thank you very much, Carla.
Thank you.
Our next guest is Joy Liu. Welcome. And you're a meditation instructor from Taiwan. You've been here for 9 years, yeah? Would you like to tell a little bit about how you ended up coming to Norway, first of all, and any experiences you've had with everyday racism?
I come in here because my husband teaching Chinese here, and I even though I'm a meditation instructor, but it's a kind of volunteer work. Actually, I'm just housewife, yes. And just like I told you that I'm not, I have a suspicious about the definition of racism. So for my experience is daily life, like because here the first year I have to go to the language school, and most of the time I can feel that I was the one, because it's not so many Asian people in the classroom. So most of the time I will feel that I was left alone. So maybe people don't like, maybe I'm too old for them or something like this. And at the beginning, especially in the beginning, when you're sitting on the, how do you say, the metro, Taebana, so you can feel that when people come in, and if you have the idea about the seating arrangement, you can see that people was towards you with suspicious, then they were just passing you, and they will choose another. So sometimes I was feeling, is that me, or because this person prefer to sit alone or sit with some other Norwegian together? So sometimes I was doubt, but I'm not so sure it's a kind of racism. And daily life, because my social life is most of surround me is Norwegian people. I'm not so much contact with other Chinese or Taiwanese in Oslo. So in this kind of social life, I also felt that I'm much alone. People maybe because the language, and in a party, I will feel that not so interest to other people. This kind of feeling, yeah.
And you get that in different types of settings in general, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well that's, I mean, we discussed this before the show as well, that it's this, and I like that you brought this up, that it's the definition of racism. What is racism actually, and everyday racism? Where do we draw the line of what's just us having the need as human beings, as tribal people, because that's what we ultimately are, differentiating between the needing to be a part of a group and ostracizing somebody for being so different, and not like even allowing them in to see if you might be just the same as us, just even if you don't look a little bit different, right?
Just
And
accepting.
Yes, and something interesting that because my husband is Norwegian, I'm Taiwanese. So in the beginning, when I feel I was discriminated, so I came home and I talking what kind of experience I have, and he's kind of no, it's just your thinking. People here won't work that way or something. And he will mention that when he was in Taiwan, he never felt. I say because you are white. In Taiwan, in Asian country, you are more welcome. So you never understand my feelings. So in the beginning, I would kind of protest. So it's kind of, so I was trying. So sometimes I would doubt, is something wrong with my head? I was thinking that people was discrimination or racism, but actually it's not. So sometimes I'm doubting myself also because of my husband's response.
And I mean, I totally understand that, and you should just trust yourself, because this is actually happening. Which was a bad response, I'm sorry about that, but we really have to get to the next person, and then we can all discuss a little bit more. So our last guest for tonight is Flexi Aukan. He is a rapper and a graffiti artist, half Chilean, half Norwegian.
Yep.
Go.
Yes.
Tell us about you.
Me, yeah, as you said, I'm a hip hop artist, rap musician. I have a studio. I make graffiti art. I occasionally have lectures, I would say, for the social service and child service in Norway, talking about how it is growing up in the on the, how can I say it, like the other side of the law, the other side of the society, falling out of the school system, been in jail a couple of times, and trying to kind of find a place in society after feeling pushed out and left out. So yeah, that's what I do. I'm also a father to a beautiful 5-year-old girl, and I have experienced a lot of racism, as you said, like sitting on public transportation and sitting down, just people taking the purse and just hiding it. If I go into an elevator, they hide the purse. If I just walk behind someone, they would take the purse in front. That's regular. That's like I comment it out loud. Oh, so you're afraid I'm gonna take your purse? Thank you. Very nice. You're a beautiful person.
If I take the line 5,
Yeah.
that way is like every Muslim think that I'm one of them. They give me this vibe. So I've actually tattooed this just to hold my grip. To
And
show
it's a
that
cross, yeah.
I'm not. So less explanation.
But also like police stopping. Also, where I live is it's in like the suburbs of Oslo, and we're mostly foreigners. Some like middle class Norwegians, but mostly foreigners. My apartment building is like from everywhere: East Africa, West Africa, Turkish, Kurds. We have Indian, Pakistani, Polish, every kind of nation. So when we grew up, it was like everybody felt kind of foreign to the Norwegian culture, but we made our own community. Everybody was welcome. Everybody was like playing with identities. It was always like, where are you from? And you kind of took pride in where you're from, instead of trying to be another kind of nation or finding another identity. But the system, the schools, the police, the child service, everyone was Norwegian. So we're like a group of people from all over the world, feeling really connected to each other, but feeling disconnected to the world around us, or foreign, not necessarily disconnected, but foreign.
And it doesn't really make you, sorry for cutting you off, but it doesn't really make you want to integrate into that society if you're not.
No, it doesn't. And the kids, it's worse for the kids, because the kids is, I was born here from a Chilean father and a Norwegian mother, and when you don't feel like at home in what's supposed to be your home, it's kind of weird dynamics, and if you don't have any good role models, it will be easy to fall out of this society and be attracted to crime and other kind of destructive behaviors. So like the police were always, because we were from like where the apartment buildings are, so we were always like picked on by the police, and the teachers were always like, yeah, you foreign children, you don't need to learn this much. You shouldn't like be so much. It's okay if you're a little dumb because you're foreign. So you kind of feel strange in this.
They think that you're so much more solid. Like you can handle a lot more just because
also,
you're from another place.
And it's a weird experience growing up.
Yeah,
because also when I go to Chile, I'm also like looks. I'm looking like everybody, so I'm home in that way. I don't look any different like I do here in Norway. But when I go there, I feel like okay, my culture is not completely Chilean. It's also Norwegian, and it's a lot of things here that I appreciate. So it's like living like I don't know, in limbo kind of. You don't know where you're belonging, but
You're just here.
I'm just here, and I'm happy anywhere I am. It doesn't matter.
I mean, I think I can just speak for myself, but I think that all of us sitting here today, in this kind of utopia where we would not have these borders and these lines that would differentiate between who is accepted and who's welcome.
Yeah.
But this is how it is.
Yeah.
And so you mentioned something earlier, which I really, if you can elaborate, but this pyramid. Yeah. That it's like the system is set up so that it's basically the
systemical racism.
Yeah, and it's like, and everybody else, we've grown up with this, so it's not even like it can be like simple things from a child doesn't really understand. They just copy what their parents say, and so they've copied this idea from when they're young, and they don't even know where it's from. But then they're afraid of this thing, you know.
Yeah. And it's like you see it like in South America. You see it a lot because you can see like or the majority of the rich people are white European descendants living in closed communities with only Europeans. And the darker you are, the poorer you are. And that's like the world. It's like you have the beautiful north of Europe and the North American population that's white, that have a lot of accumulated wealth, and it's like the darker you become, the poorer you are. Even though like the resources is in South America and Africa and Asia and
I mean, we barely have potatoes, not even the 6 months of the year we have potatoes, you know.
Well, what about being from Palermo, Sicily? Oh, you're mafia. Oh,
exactly.
Pizza. Oh, you're grandiosa. I'm like, I'm grown up here.
And that's like
Pizza grandiosa.
the what's it called? The prototypes that that you need, stereotypes. Thank you. That the racist system needs to make us all feel like we're different. Because if we were all the same, it would be easy to see that the problem is not the differences. It's we have more in common with each other, the people of the world, than the 1% that they say like owns the world.
I wonder if it's like easier just having this racism or just topic where you're from as a subject to talk about, because you don't want to talk about yourself and just have the depth that maybe other countries are more open about who they are, what they experience, what they read, what kind of music, who are you, what have you experienced in life, is more here about, oh, you're from there, oh, let's talk about kind of like politician kind of way.
It's something that they already, an idea they already have of where you're from, instead of hearing about you. Yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And I wanted to, because we have both boys and girls here, how men or women,
Look at me.
how is it different being met with racism for a man and for women? How does racism look, is a better way to say it, for a man versus for a woman?
I would,
like, because you're talking about the
outside.
Yes, because
look at how beautiful, or like look how gangster, or look how
because I'm from Taiwan, and I remember when I was in the language school, and the teacher asked me, where are you from? And I said Taiwan, and one of the teacher even cannot differentiate Taiwan and Thailand. Thailand. So they have kind of how do you say, I don't think sometimes, just back to my old issue, is that racism or is the kind of because then he began to talking about the sex slave, because some Thailand girls. So I would kind of feel uncomfortable. But I think it's not racism. It's a kind of stereotype and people put in their mind and unconsciously. And I think it's related with people if they have, how do you say that, sensitive. They are kind of, people kind of lack of sensitive, lack of empathy. So they are just,
but that's,
it's daily life. I met. I have this kind of.
I would say it's like a byproduct of racism, because racism doesn't allow you to learn about other cultures because they're not worth as much as our culture, because our culture is the best. So by default, it's like we don't know anything about you, and that's where I also think your point, like everything becomes exotic, and the girls is so exotic, and the men are so the Latin lover, and the gangster, and it's like these stereotypes that is programmed in your head from movies, from media, from childhood.
But also the generation, kind of like before you could just say that I'm actually from here, I live in this country, this is who I am. But now this generation, like you can be a fifth or half or anything, and you travel and you move, and it's just accepting the person that you are, and having this racism as stagnant is really tough, having to explain yourself as introducing yourself instead of just being who you are and talking about that. You don't have your parents, you don't have your roots, you don't have your background.
That's
You're you in wherever you travel with your passport, with your luggage, and that's how we network together. So I hope this gets easier. Like I have a teenager, he's soon 14 years old, and he's a boy. Like he's half of my roots and he's half Norwegian. So he's not like half mafia and half the conflict shy like Norwegian. And even in high school, you don't have to be something else. Your name and what you're good at, and like school now, what you're being taught is what you bring out in the next generation. And we're not family, we're individual now. So
I had a question and I lost it now. Okay, I'll just be honest about that. But I want because this kind of question about where you're really from, or oh, you speak such good Norwegian, or these kinds of comments absolutely are not nice to be met with. But it can also be, on the other side, somebody that doesn't really know how to approach it, and that's just they mean well, but it comes out the wrong way. So how could one approach this without being defensive, for example, or like explaining it to somebody if they come with this kind of question, where you can kindly put them in their place?
Maybe ask about what language are you most comfortable talking in. Like, for me, it's like Norwegian or English, but Norwegian is my mother language. Even if I travel whatever is, even with my background, Norwegian is the most comfortable language for me. To express my everything. That's what I've been taught with, and the younger you are, the easier it is to hear the language and learn it. As I see in my son, he's taken like Spanish, and he's really good at it. He doesn't know Italian, he doesn't know any of the other languages, but he hear it from like social media, from Fortnite, from music, and he learns the pronunciation, how you pronounce the words. But my mom, for example, she's been here 1 more year longer than me, but her pronunciation in Norwegian sounds like she's been here maybe 5-6 years. And when I speak Norwegian, it's like fluent, but they don't see me as Norwegian at all. So.
But do you find that your son, does he have any? He looks.
Oh,
how
he
does
looks
look?
Italian.
He looks Italian. So.
No, he has like the skin tone for me. He has the big brown eyes. He has the hair, and he has the like style. I would say he's really handsome and charming, and his ability to look in the eyes when you're talking to someone and actually listening and taking his time, accepting someone, and he has a confidence that. I would like for him to continue on this and not where he goes at school now feeling that, oh, you're potet because you're half Norwegian. Like he even took potato to school to say like, this is potato, I'm not potato.
Potato is from Chile, from the Andes.
Yeah.
So
There we go.
I would like to take that back.
Yeah.
We the Chileans are the real potatoes.
Yeah.
Don't take it. You can't give it to the Norwegians.
But if we sorry.
Yeah.
But if we take this language, someone compliment to you that you speak good Norwegian, for Bella, it feel like insulted, right?
Yeah, to me too. To me too. Yeah.
You are like born
Absolutely.
here. And for this foreigner like me, just I was living here for only 9 years, but every time same person just say, oh, your Norwegian is better.
Yeah.
It's okay, but what I'm trying to say is that because we are different background, so it's kind of same sentences we have different reaction. So like me, I will say, oh, she say each time I was speaking better. So I was thinking last year must be very. So it's my personality making me think of that. Oh, this kind of low self-esteem, or thinking, oh, maybe last time I'm speaking so bad. This time it's better. So, but for you guys, I don't understand.
Or they
You
have
have
sympathy, like when you talk to the phone, to the system,
Yeah.
you can hear like because you don't talk fluent, they're like immediately putting you down or talking more slowly,
And if you
or not
if you
giving you the right
searching a job
information.
and you use your foreign name, you will be put in the back of the line.
Over apartment too.
immediately. Or apartment, or So it's like, and you don't usually go around pointing out people's ability to speak in another language. I don't go to like people say, oh, you're really good at speaking English. Oh, how good you are, you little toy, you little baby. Oh, you are so good. It's like it's condescending. Yeah. It's
And
not.
that's the same when we're talking about differences between men and women
Yeah.
and racism. For me, it's like having my picture or having my image. I know that I can get more benefits by introducing my good looks than just being in my gym wear or being without makeup or anything. It's a lot different being a man and a woman when it comes to racism.
We're dangerous. You're exotic and sexy.
No, I'm actually dangerous and fit and alive.
Yeah, and I'm actually exotic and sexy.
Yeah.
So I can take the other one.
But sometimes this daily experience for me, the best part is that I can reflect myself. I begin to never mind others. Why this response from me? So I can explore myself. That's the better part.
Yeah.
Best part.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really want to continue talking about this topic, and we could talk all night, honestly, but we are running out of time.
Yeah. I understand.
So we'll just have to wrap it up for tonight. But maybe we can discuss this on another night as well. But thank you very much for watching, and thank you so much, all of the three of you, for coming.
Thank you.
And next week, our topic is going to be none other than sex. So tune in.